How's it going, everyone? I had mentioned in a previous video that was related to my renewable energy project that my feelings for it have changed. Now, to better explain, I have several videos on my renewable apartment project, which at the time we didn't think that we were going to be moving from our apartment for a while. So at the time I said, we're stuck here for a while, so I'm going to try to make the best of it. And basically what I did was, and you can see the videos, I added an off-grid, on-grid, hybrid type setup where I would be able to harness the sun in the afternoon and evening hours. I had a bicycle generator that could generate basically all day if needed. And it would be there to mainly reduce my power bill and be a good backup for when the power goes out. And it was really good at the time, and I'm glad that I made the investment. But looking back, it was actually a bad investment, and the reason is not because of just investing in solar, but because of my limitations being in an apartment. And yes, it was the best that I could have, and yes, options are limited for many people who live in apartments. But unfortunately, the cost to production ratio was just way too high. And it started looking like, to me, towards the end before we moved, it was looking pretty frustrating because we were in the winter months and I wasn't producing very much electricity at all. And it was just frustrating that I had made this investment and it wasn't putting out what I had hoped. So when we moved into this house, I began to expand my potential as far as what I could do with the system I already had and what I could do to expand that system. And as I am I read the news. I'm not a Facebook fanatic or anything, but I read the news, and I've noticed lately more and more cyber attacks on American soil, basically, if you want to put it that way. And one thing that I've been following, and you could call me, one of those preppers or doomsday people or whatever, but one thing that I've been following recently is the fact that our electrical grid is controlled by computers, okay? And when you look at things like just recently in the news, how the IRS is getting hacked, our government agencies are getting hacked. I mean, it's just, if you've got something that powerful that is able to penetrate some of the best systems that we have in the world, there's a problem. And unfortunately, I don't think this problem is being taken serious enough. Yes, it's serious to the point where, oh my God, 3 million federal workers got their information stolen. But I don't think we're being proactive enough to actually stop this happening. And I'm not going to get into the political aspect of it, but basically, our electrical grid is similar. And it's only a matter of time before somebody figures out how to disable a good portion, if not all, of our grid. And it may be temporary. It may be one of those things where it's off for an hour or 8 hours or 12 hours a day. But it could be serious enough where it could be off for a week or a month. And it's one of those things that I don't think very many people take seriously. And I'm not trying to instill fear in everybody, because I really hope that we wake up. And I've seen this demonstrated, and there's several hackers, ethical, legitimate hackers, who have demonstrated this possibility to be able to inject code and make the operator think, oh, everything's great, when actually, no, this power plant is about to have a nuclear meltdown. I mean, anything is possible, and that's the problem. I don't think it's going to be one of those deals where you're going to see a terrorist attack like we have before, where it's by physical means. Either like what happened with 9/11, or any kind of chemical warfare. I think it's going to be in the digital form. My personal belief is that they're going to bring down something that we as a society rely on so much now, and that's electricity. And if they're able to figure out a way to bring down the grid, then the possibilities then thereafter are limitless. I mean, that would bring this country or any country to its knees without electricity. And it's not just the external threat, it's also the internal threat. What's going to happen if we don't have electricity for a week? What's going to happen when all the store shelves are completely empty because nobody has any way to cook anything or whatever? So I think that this country as a whole is severely unprepared for the possibilities, and I hope they are just possibilities. I'm not going to rant on about how this is coming. I know it for sure. Doomsday, the apocalypse, yada yada yada. That's not the whole point in this video. The point is that I am starting to prepare myself for what I believe is inevitable. And I'm not talking about I'm storing pails and pails of food yet. I haven't gotten into that aspect of it, but the electricity aspect. Granted, electricity is not a necessity to life because, after all, electricity is somewhat of a modern convenience that just recently came across humanity. But my feelings are that I want to be prepared to sustain some heat without oil and be able to sustain some of our conveniences like hot water and so on without oil or gas, a generator, whatever. And I also want to go green. That's another thing that I'm looking at. And you can debate that, whole aspect about global warming and so on if you want to. That's fine. But my feelings have changed to where I honestly, truly believe that something is going to happen, and I want to at least be prepared for it the best that I can. Again, I'm not going underground or building my bunker or anything else like that. I'm not going that severe. But electricity, to me, is more than just firing up a microwave or having my computer on. It heats my water here. It provides heat in the wintertime. And you never know when something might happen where the oil just dries up, basically. And then we have no kerosene. We have no gasoline for generators. What else are you going to have? Well, renewable energy is one way to go. And granted, my system right now is on a small enough scale where it's not going to heat my entire house, but it'll heat a room. And, when things get tough, we all have to share one room just to get by. That's just the way that it is. So, I've seen some phenomenal setups from preppers who just 80 batteries and just solar banks that are just massive and so on. I'm probably never going to go that route. And the whole argument is that if you're going to invest that much in solar, why not grid tie? I might do that down the road, but I don't have the money, the investment right now, the actual money to be able to grid tie. I just don't. I don't have $30,000-$40,000 laying around that I can throw panels on the roof and have them grid tied to be paid back. That's the goal. I'd like to, but I just don't have the money right now. So I'm investing in my own personal off the grid setup to be able to sustain my own needs and to get by with the bare minimum, basically, until things blow over or whatever happens. So I don't really know what else to say other than I'm starting to move into the direction of having a stable, off-the-grid power source. And that means having batteries. That means having panels and wind generators. And I am going to seriously try to live off the grid. Now, it's going to be impossible with the setup that I have now, but it's good for emergency purposes. That's great. I can power my fridge. I've got a couple of DC appliances that I can use as heaters and things like that. So in an emergency, in a pinch, I can do it. But the goal is to expand this system over time. Right now I've got 500 watts of panels and a bicycle generator. I want to invest in wind energy, turbines, get them up on the roof. I'm going to add another 500 watts to my solar panel system, put those on the shed. And I'm going to continuously expand this system. And when it gets large enough where I'm in a position where I'm able to grid tie, and that's what I'm going to do. Now, I still have my grid tie microinverter, which I will use, obviously, not as much, but I will use it. But I'm trying to My goal is to train the family to be able to live off the grid. And I'm not talking about growing our own food out in the backyard or anything. I'm talking about electricity wise being off the grid. So again, everybody's opinions differ on all of this stuff, but I just want to be prepared. And I'm not talking about a million rounds of ammunition and enough food to supply a family for 30 years, an underground bunker that's 20 feet underground, and all that. I'm not talking about that. I'm in no position economically to be able to do that. Maybe down the road, yes, but right now, no. And if you can hear that, it's rain. It's been raining pretty good the last couple of days. But so that's where I'm at with this right now, and I am not calling myself a prepper, but I love the renewable energy field. I think it's great. I think it's neat to be able to store your energy in batteries and then be able to use that later to power basically everything except for my central air and central heat. And I love the just the fact that I'm taking part of my footprint off of this earth. And you could call me a hippie and greenie and all other stuff, but that's just the way I feel about it. And I think it's fascinating technology. I really do. And so I once again, I think that's all I have to say about it. So I'm going to be moving in that direction. You will see more videos on my channel as far as that goes. I'm still going to have all the same stuff I have now, but I'm going to be constantly investing in my renewable energy project. And just lastly, it's been said several times that, and I'm sure that you've seen the videos, people who've invested tens of thousands of dollars prepping and actually prepping, and then you hear about the stories. Well, it's great that you have a 30-year food supply, but if a group of 40 guys with AR-15s come knocking on your door, what are you going to do? You're going to just say, oh, go away? Your little handgun going to deter all 40 of them? So it's one of those things where some people say it's a waste to invest in that, because if we get to the point where society is falling apart, then it's every man for themselves, and basically people are going to kill just for scraps that are on your table to survive. So they will steal your solar project, or they will just move right into your home to sustain life forcefully. So those are varying opinions as well. But anyway, so that's my update. Look forward to more videos on my renewable energy project. And hopefully I'll have a really nice system that'll be able to not only save me money in the long run, but also be a great backup source, so that I don't have to be like my neighbors who have absolutely no renewable energy and cannot sustain themselves at all when it's 10 degrees outside. So anyway, that's about it. So take care, guys.